call the meeting to order. Start with the minutes.
Did everybody get it? Sorry.
Mr. Robinson, yes.
Hey, Mr.
Oh,
Robinson.
hey, Tom.
I think I'm a month late.
You're dollar short?
If anybody hasn't read them, here's a copy.
Alright.
Yeah, sorry about getting them late. They had this garden tour last week.
Yeah, he was a little busy, right? Right up to the last minute. Wasn't that week before
Working
a
in the
killer?
rain.
It was
I
so
think I heard a comment that he would be glad when it was done.
Well, he's not the only one. Oh, but it
I was
was
asking everybody if they had a spare room.
Alright, let's get on with the meeting.
So unless she's had a recent change of status, Tricia's last name is Lowe.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, L-O-W-E.
I believe there was a Patty Burke sitting in that chair about 5 years ago, but
That's who's on the website.
Oh dear,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
terrible.
today. Yeah.
That,
I
are you
just-
sure?
Yeah.
oh, that's
Oh,
fascinating.
maybe.
Because I would have
Actually,
been there.
I take it back. I Googled it.
Oh,
I
okay.
Googled it. So it's old news, I guess. Then.
Yeah, Lowe. Both in the attendance and in the storybook. Yeah, I'll just give this to you.
Yeah, that's fine.
I believe her professional name is Miss Tricia,
Yes?
Tricia.
Seriously?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was
Yeah.
your library name.
Miss Trisha tells
No, it's not a
stories.
stripper name.
No, God.
Down under the OSRP, Mark reported no further input. We're actually not waiting for anything at the moment from Melissa Cryan. This is totally in my court, and I'm dribbling aimlessly. So, so you can just report Mark reported no further progress.
I'll just take out that sentence and just say Mark's working on.
Yeah, you could do that.
There you go.
Beech tree leaf disease. In the bullet point, typo on phosphate.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
thought
Thank you.
phosphate was correctly spelled.
Now they're missing an O.
It's fine.
Sorry.
Must be mentioned more than once.
In the bullet point. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
Any other comments? Motion to accept as edited.
So moved.
Second? Second?
Nobody wants to say.
Let's go, guys. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved unanimously as edited. Treasurer's report.
Okay, Ryder is static at $4,125.32. The Hubbardston Preservation Trust, same thing, $15,366.06. However, $50 donation is making its way by the end of the month to the open space donation account, which brings it to just under $500. It will be $498.34.
Yep.
And I kept this for our records.
Okay, and that was from Susan Vida.
Alrighty.
All right, that's good.
Did she want her name mentioned with it?
She doesn't have a problem with that. She didn't say anything contrary to that. I don't think she'd have any problem with that whatsoever. Hubbardston Heights, I know Tim has we're not available for that for the next few sessions, so unless somebody wants to volunteer to do one of those, those will be on hold for a little bit, I think, so.
Summer hiatus sounds fine, because you're coming and going and doing things.
Just relative to our own edification, what's the status? I think Mark, I know Mark took a hike out there a week or two ago. Out where the orchids,
Give me a clue.
Yeah.
out where the orchids are that
Mike's.
Tim and Mike
Oh.
were talking about.
Yeah,
And what's the status of the orchids, or the?
they were in.
I
bloom-
have it.
They were in bloom 10 days ago, or whenever it was.
Yeah.
I was out there.
I've been out twice in the last 2 weeks, and they were blooming more than I've ever seen. And I took 2 groups out there,
Oh, good.
and willing to take another one. I know this hiatus thing.
Oh,
but,
yeah. Well,
It's the time to do it. I understand summer, but you go when they're in bloom.
Oh, well, that sounds good. If you want, what's the window of opportunity?
Well, we're closing in on that, but I was up in Royalston, and they were still blooming there in a similar situation.
How long
There's
would-
no new buds coming out, but they're still very active.
How long does it
flowers
take
in bloom.
to get a notice out? Like if we wanted to do one within a week or so, I don't know what your availability is, but we need to do it soon then.
Right.
4th of July is next week, so.
Yeah.
But that might mean some
If-
people.
if
I
you
don't think they're- I don't
want,
think
you
they're
know,
gonna make it.
something that we don't need to, get a lot of advance notice.
Right.
If the
You send it out, say,
Committee-
hey, what about?
Yeah, or just if you as the committee, we as the committee want to go, I'll take us, because that's a little bit easier to
Yeah,
coordinate.
yeah, and
Maybe
we
we
can
can-
just spread the word if somebody else wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's kind of happened with the second group. Somebody approached me. They organized the contact of everybody. I just said, "Here's, when do you want to go?" That matched up with my schedule, and we went.
Yeah, well, it sounds good to me, and it's not, I've seen, you
It'd
see
be interesting,
heads
but you're talking
nodding,
about the one in
What-
Hubbardston still?
Yes,
or-
yes,
okay,
yes.
yeah.
What,
So it's local, it's,
what's a good day that's available for you?
Well, do people want weekend or? Oh, we're coming up on the week. This weekend. That's pretty quick, but I'm available this weekend.
Well, since it's mostly this forum,
Right.
what's our,
Well, it depends on the
Saturday?
time.
I'd like to go earlier, just because it's cooler.
yeah.
And the bugs seem to be cooperative, and the animals seem to be
I
cooperative.
don't know, how about Saturday, like at 9 or 10, something like that? Is that what you're?
Saturday at 9, let's do it early.
9,
Yeah.
yeah. I actually took
We're- and
people out
meet
at 8.
oh, really?
Yeah. But that's up to, or even 7:30. It was, yeah. No, it doesn't have to be 8
There's
or
an
9.
8 a.m.?
But if you, I suggest the earlier the
Yeah,
better.
we can do it.
Okay.
Susan's in charge of the coffee.
No, you'll be sorry. So, so what do you think?
I
Meet
think
at that park, where would we park? Just along the road there?
Oh, if he's gonna.
Um,
Get him on.
it depends on how many cars we're bringing in. So we carpooled because there's really only spots for like 3 vehicles. And keeping it legal. It's right near. It's in between Calico Cream. There's a yellow gate there,
Yeah.
and I think it's V. I actually took a picture of it, so I'd remember. But
Well, I think
don't remember.
everybody knows what that gate is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
Yeah,
So if you safely park along the road there.
okay.
I do know Mr. Pickett. I warned him a year ago that we might do that. This probably would be happening, and I guess I could contact him.
Is he the next house then?
He's on the opposite side of the road from the gate,
Oh, okay.
and there's a bog to the side of those apartments or whatever, and he owns the bog, and then he has a couple drives into his property, and I just want to respect his property
Right, okay.
rights and
Okay,
stuff.
Saturday at 8. Sounds
All right.
great.
That's great.
Those condos across the road might be a decent place to park too.
It's a private road, but if you
Yeah.
park on the town right away.
Or we could ask Elaine and Dawn.
Calico and Cream would be a wonderful place if you know who those
Yeah.
owners are.
Yeah, okay. I'll give her a call and just say that would be Saturday
Yeah, and then
morning.
just
And
send
invite
And it
them.
would be several vehicles, and we would not
Yeah.
block the driveway or where they store their car, cars are stored in those buildings.
Yeah, I never see a car on the far side towards where the gate is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remind me.
Yeah, just send it on an email if it's
Yeah.
okay if they
Yeah,
park,
okay.
okay?
Let's
All right.
assume it's okay, and if you don't hear anything,
Okay, that's a good way to do it.
yeah, only if there's a
Okay.
problem, and we have to come up with
What
plan B.
happens with assumed?
Just to think we
Anyway, all right, so done with that. We have a guest here, Mr. Robinson. You want to have your say, or you just
I
want to
don't
listen
really
to
have anything
our
to say.
frivolity?
I enjoyed the frivolity. It was nice to see a committee working so well together. First, congratulations on the grant that you received.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark.
It was in the paper,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
the Barry Gazette. It's
Interesting.
a widely distributed paper of Barry.
Specific on the Hubbardston grant, or just
Yes,
generally on
Yes,
the?
it described it as being down on Williamsville Road at one location, and
Yep.
Oh, Nathan,
I guess there were two.
I wrote it up like a press release, but
Well, they-
sounds like Nathan actually sent it in.
They did a good job of copying you. If you did that, you did a good job as well.
Mhm.
Well,
And-
we just got the Gazette today, right? So,
Well, I don't know when I got it. Maybe last Thursday or Friday.
oh, a week ago? Hmm,
They come out on Thursdays, I think.
yeah.
But anyway, congratulations. Good work.
Yes.
Grant writing is real art, and apparently someone knows what they're doing. Is it your mark?
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good. And there were two components to the grant. One was a
Get up.
No, you're.
handicapped access which-
Yeah, all access,
to Dottie
what's
Rock.
that title? All access or
Accessible trail, will do.
accessible?
All persons.
Yeah,
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 all
that's Audubon's preferred.
Yeah.
that gets you out to Dottie's Rock, and then there was some kind of a modification to the trailhead at the other end. Down
Yeah, it'll be
there.
about a mile's worth of trail, but it's all,
Yeah, flashing lights at the rail trail crossing on Williamsville. Flashing lights.
Yeah, flashing light, that's right. What the heck is- But that's all I really have formally to say, but informally, I think you guys are moving forward on the concept of a land trust and an account and other things. Pulling an act together
There we go.
that support the
Just a second, you're really too
Chapter 51 and other preservation programs.
yeah,
And I think we have enough for everybody with our guests. We need another cup over there.
Just one for Bridget.
Yep, okay. And Tom needs
I'm not
some
gonna have
juice.
any.
Oh, you'll pass?
Okay.
You can just pretend, okay. So I need one of those recipes. Please join us. For some
Bring
nutrition.
an opener too.
A little tab.
They're twist off caps.
Oh, are they?
So, it's obvious what we're doing, right? We are celebrating the grant. We could sing a song, or we could just say.
I'll leave that up to you, Susan.
No, that's okay. But it, as you said, it's an art. And this one, as Mark said at some point, he had sent me an email, I am so excited when it all comes together. You know, I mean, the various parts. Yeah, you're Mark. You said that. Oh, we have an extra glass?
Double fisted.
Well, you wrote the grant, so that's okay.
2 grants.
Yeah, that's right.
2 glasses.
I need one.
Oh, okay.
If there is one.
There's an extra, right?
Yeah.
now.
For the sake of the recording, you need to announce that it's a
Yes,
non-alcoholic.
it is apple juice.
They can zoom in on the label.
So, who's the best toaster here?
Oh, we can make a toast.
Okay, Mr.
It's my job as chairman to pick somebody.
Here's a successful grant proposal and to Mark for all his work.
Very good.
Here, here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, Mark.
Cheers.
Congratulations.
Chin chin.
Oh, well, did we miss one? Somewhere?
I'm not sure it counts if you don't have it again.
Was that on the agenda?
Because it was supposed to be a
okay.
surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the,
So seriously,
so the official,
Mark-
event last week, was supposed to, it was last Friday. Last Friday? Yeah, last Friday. And we were supposed to have the governor and various bigwigs there, but we lost most of them to the Celtics parade. But the commissioner of DCR was there and the secretary of EEA.
that's pretty impressive.
And, whoa, there was actually a news item that came out of that visit because it was down in Holliston on their rail trail down there, the Upper Charles Rail Trail. And we had a bike ride after the to-do. And I went on that and took a look at their flashing signals
Ah,
at road crossings. And they're using the motion detector
Okay.
and say that they have been reliable. So when I bid this thing out for Williamsville, I'm revisiting that issue and we'll bid it out with the detectors and see if we can make the money work with the
Cool.
existing grant.
nice. See, it's all coming together.
Now, the motion detector, oh, obviously on people coming up the trail, yeah.
No, I pointed at the cars.
Okay.
I did.
Is there a manual override?
There's a manual button as well. Yeah.
Very good.
So yeah, I mean, I had heard from one vendor that technology just wasn't really reliable, but they say it's been going fine.
Good.
So we'll see what we can do because that would be a major operational benefit,
Yeah.
But,
especially for riders.
yeah. What was their scenario like where they had theirs installed? Was it a similar type situation?
Yeah, road crossing of a rail trail.
Yep.
I mean, they have a much nicer rail trail than we have at this point. Hopefully, this is going to get the ball rolling for further improvements to the trail surface someday in the future.
Yeah.
What's realistically, when would this begin and how long would it take to complete our?
The signals?
Well,
or
no,
the trail?
the whole project, I mean, out on in the lawn.
Well, we need to cut for Malone. We need to cut the trail corridor sometime this winter, early spring.
So that's the first step.
Construction next summer, and everything wrapped up by the end of the fall.
That would be
Yeah,
so
they-
exciting. We'll have to
the-
plan.
Yeah,
Especially-
grant time limit the end of next year?
No, you still have another year after that to
Okay.
expend the funds under the grant. But
Okay.
we've been talking about this for so long. We want to do it at this point, I presume.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if we lay out and mark the trees whenever, then those can be taken down without, waiting to do it all at once. Like, I'd be available to go out and get a couple trees, go out for a walk, take out a couple trees.
Take them out.
Yeah, take them out. Because I'll go out with a handsaw and take them so that, and I've done this, and I know people think that that's really not practical, but it is. You walk your dog, you keep it quiet, handsaw. I'll even take up the stumps, and I've done that too. So,
Sure.
okay.
Whatever turns you on.
Well, and if you get a few done, you get a few done, and then
Yeah.
we're not
On a big
rushing.
project,
Well,
bit
when
by
we-
bit, and it
Yep.
gets done.
When it comes time for that, we'll get together and have
Okay.
a pretty good plan of what we want.
Yeah, I mean, we can't.
We got to lay it out,
We
right?
yes, we need to do that.
Okay.
And we can't start expending effort on this until we get the actual contractual notice to proceed, which will be end of October, November, because it's pending the start of the federal fiscal year, October
Okay.
1.
But if this is volunteer work, no contract or money involved.
We need to record the volunteer hours because that's part of our match on the grant.
Okay.
I mean, we could lie. We could do the work now and say that we
Oh,
did it
no,
later.
no. If there's some kind of a requirement to wait till 1 October, so it kicks into the federal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be later than that.
But-
It'll be
okay.
end of October, November-ish.
Okay.
So late fall
Okay.
or over the winter.
I mean,
I mean,
we
what-
can't start documenting it earlier? I mean, if we do the work earlier? No, we can talk offline.
Yeah.
We don't need to take up everyone's time.
Not officially.
Okay.
Okay.
How about the schedule on the flashing lights? What are you looking at
We're
there?
going to put out a request for quotes in a couple weeks and hopefully get on their schedule for a fall installation this year. I mean, it'll take a couple days probably for them to pound it in.
What's that one in?
Is the deck still part of this project?
The Malone.
Yeah. Are we still planning on volunteer help for the deck construction?
We'll fine tune it as we as we go along here. I mean, a lot depends on how the quotes come back for the trail work.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, Tom, before the little celebration started.
Yes, the eruption.
The eruption started. You had started to talk about land stuff or whatever that.
Well, excuse me. Yeah, you've already initiated discussions with land trusts, North County and East Quabbin or
Mount Grace.
Mount Grace.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
And they know the drill.
Yeah.
They've done it in Sterling. They've done it in other places.
Yeah.
And you're in very good hands with those people.
Yep.
And I would encourage you to get the town accountant. No, I'm sorry, the town assessor involved.
Okay.
The assessor has all the formal procedural knowledge on Chapter 61, how you get in it, how you get out of it, what it means, the taxes. He's really well informed.
So what, actually, what Tom had a segue into, that was my next bullet here on the agenda, and that was the Land Priority Subcommittee. So, yeah, he was referring to that. So we had a meeting, just relative to activity, we had a meeting with Anna just to go over material that they had relative to, see if there was anything relative to work that North County had done investigating. There's a lot of the properties that we're interested in associated with the topic. Some of them were previously looked at relative to the Forest Legacy Program, and North County was part of that, etc. And there wasn't too much of a major value coming out of that, but relative to that meeting, the other topic we discussed at the meeting is when and how to proceed. And so we want to do hold some public, at least one public forum on this relative to the value of land conservation. I know Tom had talked about that relative to what went on in
Wendell.
Wendell. And so we're going to have an event in roughly mid-October, so that it'd be after school gets back and things get settled down and people get into a regular fall routine. And then we'll be putting out, Rick's going to work on a brochure that describes that, and it'll be publicized as an educational forum, and we'll come up with a process for advertising it and getting that information out. We'll have a letter that will be generated associated with that, and maybe a postcard as a final reminder. So we're fine-tuning the details of the actual announcement of that. So that's what's happened relative to that. I hadn't heard much relative to the town master plan comments or status. I had sent one note to Chris, and I did get a response from him shortly before the meeting. I think it was today that I got that notice. And they're still working on that. How our comments have or have not been integrated, I haven't heard anything on that, so I probably have to contact them to see what the feedback is, the feedback process is. I don't know, if anybody else, Mark, have you heard anything on that? No. So I had sent him the conglomerate set of comments that we had come up with, and I thought we were going to have some sort of a public forum to discuss that, but that hasn't happened yet. He's working with Nate to continue the process. The Gates Hill Foundation project, a lot of that is now in the done category. The concrete was removed, taken out, put in piles. The town got in and did a nice job cleaning that up and left things very neat. Then we have since been back there. I had material based upon our last meeting and getting an okay to spend some money on that. So I had 2 loads of sandy fill and 1 load of, I don't know, what do you want to call it, loam tillings and whatnot. It's the stuff that is left over after sifting through material. And so it's a combination of loam and moderately small rocks, 1 inches to 2 to 3 inches, 3 inches being the biggest you're going to find. And that we use to help grade up to the curved stone wall area. And that amount of material did a pretty nice job, so it's not a really deep pit right in there. And it will make it easy to mow right up close to the wall. The other activity was we got the small tractor and Steph did some brush hogging out back. That looks really nice out back there again. In the process of doing that work, she came across a big branch from the beech tree that came down, and one that went right in towards the core of the tree. Where it engaged the tree was probably, I don't know, 10 inches, maybe a little bit bigger than that. We got that all cleaned up. We had I had the tractor up there, so we just brought the grapple up, and that was huge in taking care of the branches. Made that really easy to take care of that. The remaining thought I had is, I don't know, Mark and I talked to Tim about it a little bit, but just to look at the branches as it come in. When the branch was still supported partially, but when we took off some of the subsequent outlaying branches, the thing just dropped to the ground. It didn't rip a whole bunch of bark off, so it broke off really cleanly. But there's a reservoir, if you would, and there were some ants there. So I don't know if there's other work that needs to be done to clean that up. So.
Yeah, I haven't gotten over there to look at it yet. I figured Tim was probably going to jump on that.
What do you mean by a reservoir?
It was hollow. The ants had gotten in there, so there was a cavity, if you would, where the branch engaged the main part of the tree.
Is it collecting water?
Huh?
Is it full of water?
It could collect water
It wasn't full of water.
at
They were there, but
when we left it. So,
Does
and
anybody
then
know
as
an
well
arborist?
I don't know if there's other branches on that tree that are not too dissimilar. That if that tree I don't know how quickly it came down, but if it came down like just snapped and dropped, if somebody was under it, they would have been really potentially hurt seriously. So I think that the tree ought to be investigated relative to if there's anything else that we want to be proactive on. I don't know if anybody's got any thoughts on that, and or who has got the capability of doing that.
Tim is aware of it, though? Yeah, that was in an email at some point, right?
I did said a lot of this in an
So
email.
Tim is aware, because he would be the closest to our arborist, I guess, right? Because, yeah, we don't want to lose that tree.
No, well, there's a lot of branches. I don't think this is a.
I know, but if that's the beginning of something, let's nip it in the bud.
Yeah, if there's a wound where the branch fell off, maybe that should be sealed up.
That would be a pretty, you need to go up and take a look at it. So it seems like it would be a very, I mean, it's not like a, I mean, I've had.
Bondo?
Huh?
Bondo?
Maybe what I'll do then, I'll follow up with Tim to see what his suggestions are. I did talk to him a little bit once after our last meeting up there at his place, and he didn't have too much to say at that point. But if he doesn't feel comfortable making comments relative to that particular branch, and/or if there are other branches that we need to either somehow support to make sure it just doesn't snap down on somebody, or if there are some that might be better off taking down, to be proactive on it instead of having them drop it. I'll follow up with Tim on that.
You'll excuse me, I think I've done enough damage.
Nice to see you.
Night.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks for coming, Tom.
And a sincere congratulations. Good
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Bye. Okay.
Just finishing up the, let's see, so I'll just contact Tim on that. In that particular area, just we had some fill and leftover stuff, and actually a couple of the cavities right in that area, I'm not sure how they got there, but there's been some old hollows, if you would, that probably were 2 to 3 feet deep, not easy to mow at all. And so we actually threw some of the small branch debris in that, and then I took some of the excess fill that was out front, and did a pretty good job of filling those up, so it's much smoother in there. You can at least mow it. There's still a little depression, but it's very mowable. And then the last thing we did is brought some electric fence posts up, and there's brush coming up from the inside that makes where the cellar hole starts not very obvious. And so I put electric fence posts in and put some caution tape there. So, and at some point we ought to probably have something a little bit more permanent than that.
Caution tape.
Yeah, not real sturdy.
Sounds historically accurate to me.
Anybody got any thoughts on that? Or? Just go with the caution tape for a while? Or?
I guess it
Yeah,
depends on.
what would the other option, you mean put a fence up?
The only other option would be to put some sort of
Yeah.
fence up with a.
Maybe someday, instead of a fence, we could just have a sign that just says caution, steep drop here or something in a couple of spots rather than putting up fencing. Or do you think it should be fenced?
I'll offer one comment on that, and not that it's the whole liability thing. If you're going to call it out, then you should call it out in a certain way. Just like the trees on the beach, we've got a lot of trees are going to fall. We've got a lot of stone walls, we've got a lot of cellar holes. You know, where do you begin and where do you end? There's a certain amount of, you take a step outside, you incur some risk. And so I would just suggest, having gone through similar situations, that we think about it first, and then we, kind of collect our thoughts, and we may want to, ask town council. I mean, it's really that's really where the issue lies.
Yeah, I think from a liability standpoint, you almost make it worse by putting a sign up. Oh, they knew there was a problem there and they did nothing about it.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're saying.
That's the argument that's exactly the argument that I've heard.
So we need to be thinking about what kind of fencing would look appropriate. then.
Well, out
Well-
back, at some point in time, somebody obviously decided to put a little split rail up out back, but
Yeah, that's in the backside of it.
Yeah.
It's still there.
You can always take the nothing approach if we're willing to accept the risk that is associated with that.
Yeah.
Preventative
Alright, that's
medicine
good.
is the
Like you
best.
said, it's
Alright.
good to think about it.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's,
just-
I'll let.
Just so we're conscious of, aware of
Yeah. We
what
just
the
went
issue
through
is.
liability
Okay,
waivers for the tour. I mean, we did legalese, so we covered ourselves.
All right, I'll take the approach of let's think about it. We'll address that at the next meeting, and maybe I'll see if I can talk to town council, see if they have any input.
We have a couple of other lawyers that may be able to advise us. They're already associated with some town town committees, and also one of them is involved with mountain biking, and so he might already have some ideas on how this is being treated elsewhere.
Okay, they can report back on that. Let's see.
Did you get that?
The final step on the to-do basis. So it's all rough graded.
That's the agenda.
Ready for some top loam and some seed so that it all can get mowed up in through there. So sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll try and organize a work party and get some a load of loam from Walt.
Is that going to need poison ivy eradication before anybody's working closely with that area?
There is still some.
Beware then, because, yeah. Maybe we should put something on it now so it would be dead by the time we're working.
Yeah, I was thinking about
Do
that.
we have some stuff left?
Yeah.
That would be great. Preventative medicine.
And then long term, which I don't want to dwell
I will
anything
do
on right, dwell on extensively right now. It's just maybe the next step in the foundation area. I mean, one option would be to try and clean that out so you could actually walk around in there. Part of the area which is hidden, there's a stairway which I think we weren't aware of, but I believe there's 2 holes there. It's all so overgrown right now, it's hard to tell. But the area closest to the street and off to the right is where there's a stairway leading down into the lower level.
I never
And I'm
saw
not
that.
sure if that area of the foundation connects over to the area you can get to just from walking into it. But, and so one approach would be to clean it out, put some vegetation killer on it like what we had done, and then maybe a ground cloth and put some stone in there. That would be a fancy way to do it, but it would make it so it wouldn't continually grow in. But we can leave that to a future point in time. Beaver Pond. Anything else on? Just financial status on that, on the Gates Foundation. So right now we owe Walt Lawrence $600, and he's not screaming for the money, so we can wait and
But we'll need
get
an
the loan.
invoice to pay
And
it.
so the each load is only $200. He charges just $100 for a full load of material, and then $100 for delivery, something like that. And so it's about as economical as you can get for the material that is there. His loan he needs to get a little bit more for. His loan is $400 for a full 20-yard load. And that would be plenty, I think, for what we need to do there. So
And
the
that's
the grand total would be $800.
Oh, okay, out of the rider fund then, right?
I would assume.
That's what we voted on.
Yeah, okay.
And
We'll
we need
need
to
to
get
get-
an invoice from
Yeah,
Walt?
but we
Yeah.
can't pay it
Okay.
till we have an invoice, so we know it's coming though.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. So that's the status on that. Beaver Pond. I put that. Had a lot of description in my email that went out on that about the Canesto Guardian. That was absolutely amazing. So I drove the tractor down there after I left Gates Hill on the last day. And I'm working down there, and I just was sitting on the back of the tractor getting the backhoe out in the where I wanted to, and I caught something just up the trail a little bit that was moving, and I looked down and there's Tim's grouse. And the thing stayed there for 2 hours, and I'd get off the tractor and I'd walk around and it would just be essentially following me. A couple of times I had to lean over to try and get a chain on the existing cage that's there, and the thing is pecking at my ankle. Really, unbelievable. And some of our riders showed up and they were able to just look at it, and a couple of them got some videos. I should get those from those kids, and it still stayed. And when I finally left, it was just still right there, and it was like, "Are you gonna leave now?" And it was like, amazing. And I have no idea. I did do a Google on it, and it's not unheard of that grouse can have some contact with humans, but it's not a relatively rare thing. And the only thought I had is maybe this was a bird that was released or something that was used to human activity. But and so it's I'm quite sure it's the same one that Tim saw. Our riders have seen it on other occasions, so it somehow resides in that Canestro Brook area. So
Sounds like it's time we give him a name.
Yeah.
Relative to the work there, the beavers seem to have moved off. So the pond has gone way down. Tim had done some removal on the far side, and there is drainage still through the culvert. There's still a slow drainage. There's a lot more now that I pulled that cage out. I was pretty successful at getting chains on it and reaching out and just lifting up the entire cage. And then I cleaned up around it with the back. I reached in and grabbed muck and stuff like that and put that off to the side. On the downhill side, or downstream side, about 20 feet down, it necks down into, I think there's just 2 rocks there, so it's on about this way. And that's the beaver's favorite spot, and not surprisingly, to block things up. And that could be dropped a little bit. Normally when that's all totally clear, there's no little ponding. There's a little bit of ponding behind the culvert, and that's probably going to gate how low the water would go. But anyway, the next step would be, and we want to do that prior to the beavers returning and blocking things up, and the water level will all of a sudden come up 2 or 3 feet, because it's much easier to figure out exactly where you'd like to put a beaver deceiver out there, and then do a classic solution other than what we tried to do the first time. But there's a little bit of time on that, so there's no rush on any activity there right at the moment. But the one about coming up with a solution that we think will work should be done in the next 3 to 4 months. Any comments? Let's see. Oh, I did mention in here too, a handy tool, and it's probably would be used in future situations, because we'll likely not see the end of these, is Bully Tools makes something that was a really heavy-duty 4-tine fork that you could dig into muck, or it's a 1/2-inch steel tines.
Wow.
And you could actually pull logs. And that the beaver dam, I mean, I tried to get that on the far side where it was still, it'd be keeping the water this deep on the far side. I tried to get in there and grab logs and move stuff around, but it's a little awkward getting in there. With that tool, you could reach down in and pull that kind of stuff out. And it wasn't that much money. What I put in here,
$50.
$60.
50.
$47. Fiberglass handle and really heavy duty. I don't know if you want to invest in that, and that can be, we could either hide it, which is risky if somebody finds it, or one of us could keep it, and then anybody could use it if they're going to go down to do some work. Because I know Tim also did some work at upstream, and he fixed up another spot on one of the other culverts upstream. I haven't seen that.
So
Any
for-
thoughts? Or do we
What
wanna-
was it, $60 or something?
$47.
Yeah, $50, and it's a tool that does the job that you need to do.
It would make
We
cleaning up that stuff much easier if you had something that was.
What do you
deep.
think? Do we need a formal, because like your dad said, if you have the right tool, you can get any job done. I mean.
It would make it much easier to clean that kind of stuff up.
I remember
Thoughts?
what you told me.
Unfortunately.
Oh, so why doesn't somebody move?
Go ahead.
No, I'm too tired to move.
Comments, anybody? Yes, no?
Move that we appropriate $50 for the purchase of
The
a
bully tool.
The bully tool.
Yeah, there's tax on it, right?
From the donation account?
Well,
Yeah.
we just got a $50.
Yes, it's
Donation
kind of
from
like in
Suzanne.
out. That makes sense to me. It's donation/expense, and that's an expense that we feel is worthy. Sure.
Alright, I second
Right.
it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So you got a tool out of your tree work over at Vitus.
What was that?
You got a tool out of
Oh, there you go. Yeah, perfect. I think we already heard on the OSRP status, it's still status quo. So there's no rush on that. We already talked about Mass Trails Grant status. A fun project this fall would be to follow up on the OK from DCI Danny Almeida to do the 2 loops. The short loop requires almost nothing, and then we can talk about a sign, what we want to do for a sign there, so people that aren't aware of it become. In fact, I was just talking to somebody where that would have been pertinent. We saw it on the garden tour. On the garden tour, I was happened to be talking to somebody, and he said he had walked out back there, and he's not an avid hiker, obviously, but he did do the loop all the way down to Canesto and back up, and he said that might be the last time he does that. And I did point out that there would be in the near future there will be a short loop that we can put a sign on that would make that a much shorter walk or something. But, so we can think about what we want to do for signage and whatnot, and talk about that at the next meeting. One of them, relative to the trail loops, the longer trail loop requires a moderate work and planning. The rough plan is what we walked, and that's what we're going to stick with relative to, that's what was advertised and mapped out for Danny. But you can go 10 feet this way, 10 feet that way, and that makes things a lot easier relative to missing branches and how easy the trail is to get finalized, et cetera, et cetera. So there'll be some more work relative to doing the exact path that will be used. But we can talk about that at a subsequent meeting. That'd be a nice fall activity when the weather is cool and the bugs have died down. Under new business, so that's it, what I got for old business. New business, trail maintenance needs is a couple things. I don't know if anybody else has got anything, but 2 water related needs. A bridge repair at Mill Pond, and I'll come up with a proposal for that, and also the same thing at a wet area on Gates Hill. That's a pretty mucky area, that both on one side, so there's actually a
The
pad.
one where you've got the rubber
Yeah.
sheeting down right now.
Yeah, and that needs some work. I'll come up with a proposal for both of those unless somebody else wants to.
We actually need a water bar at the top of Gates Hill as well, right after it comes off the field.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
because
get
it
it all
has
washed
washed
out.
out that ramp a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'll add that onto the list. New business talked about the donation from Danny Almeida. A piece of new stuff, and it's nothing that we're gonna action on, so I can bring this up. Had a visitor this afternoon at about 3 o'clock, something like that. Lance Lane came by. And he's doing well with his leg and whatnot. He was on his way to the town office to make two $1,750 deposits. Two.
Wow.
One was a little bit after the fact. The self-described was delinquent on last year and the year before, neither of which were good hay years, but he did get something off it. And so the $1,750 was to cover some first cut that he did get in the last 2 years. And so he didn't make much money at all out of that because they were bad hay years. And then he was putting in a $1,750 deposit check for first cut this year.
So 2 checks then.
2 checks will be in there, so that'll be $3,500. I think is what the math would be on that.
So you planning a second cutting?
I would think so. Yeah.
He didn't say when we were.
No, actually, I didn't ask. I could have asked.
But that goes into the
Probably depends on
Hubbardston.
what we get for rain the rest of the summer.
That could
Yeah.
pay for a fence.
Yeah, but that goes into the Hubbardston Trust, which is weird because it could be Ryder, but it isn't, so, okay. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, for
Yeah.
something like that, where we're talking about liability and all that kind of stuff that we're gonna be talking to the town council about, I'd just as soon go to the Hubbardston Preservation Trust for
Okay.
that kind of thing.
But, I mean, that's where he's putting those deposits, correct? I should know this, but it's been so long, I don't
That's where they
remember.
go.
That's where they go. Okay.
Okay.
And do we still ask Parks and Rec if we can spend that? We
Yeah.
go through that
Yeah,
channel.
oh yeah.
I just was hoping something like that, more efficient. But it's been so long. Okay, but that's good to know.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise I'd wait and, at some point all of us would pop up and I'd say, where did that come? Oh, it must be hay. Yeah, okay. We don't need a hay czar in here. It got done right. I mean, it's happening, so. Remember, at some point Dave Marsh said he was gonna do that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's all I got. Anybody have any other topics or new business they want to bring up? Mike?
I have one that's a little bit of old and a little bit of new. So the story time and the virtual tour of Hidden Meadow, that date and time has been set. It's the 17th of July at 10 a.m. at the library. I've already worked with Tricia. We have a number of, I'll call them show and tell items that we're going to use that we either found at Hidden Meadow or have been lent to us. So if anybody has anything interesting and you wouldn't mind smaller children being around, I've got a turtle shell, I've got many of the game bird feathers, so turkey, pheasant,
Grouse.
geese, grouse,
How about bringing in a live grouse?
woodcock. So I'm trying to group the items, birds, nuts, seeds, whatever. And Tricia she usually does a craft-like thing with the children. And she's got UV light sensitive paper. So if you put a fern on it or a feather or something that has some filigree to it, they get a little bit of art back on that. And then the Land Trust, we have a resident artist, and she's done a couple of paintings, and we've cut them out in silhouette.
That's
And
right, you were talking about that.
yeah,
Right,
and so
right.
they've been put up in one's been put up in Hidden Meadow, and we're going to take those and put them in the library. The library has a art corner just went and looked at that, and so we need like docents, somebody to like take a table or a station and say, okay, these are the reptiles, and there'll be a turtle shell and snake skins or something like that. So if anybody has some interest and wants to help out, I think I could use a docent or two, so to speak.
Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? The tables and stuff, and then they go on the walk, or the walk with the story? And
It's
then...
going to be virtual. It's
Oh, I wasn't listening.
then we'll let that's sort of the advertising of it.
Oh, okay.
And then individual families and or people can decide what they want to do. This is an introduction to it because we're doing it inside, so it's not weather dependent.
Mm-hmm.
We can set it up and dry run it and everything, because the story time, I noticed that it was younger children, toddlers a lot, and I just thought that the hike up to the meadow, it's a
Would be
little
too
bit,
much.
not that people can't do it and can't throw their children and carry them or whatever they want to do, but this will be a larger audience can come and do it. We can organize it better. And then, if we want, we can launch up to the meadow itself. We just thought that this was a better first step.
Yeah.
And then it's easy to read the book there with them and do the craft and whatnot. But I already heard that there's some pretty good numbers coming
Oh, cool.
already, and we just kind of announced the date and time this week.
Great.
Good.
Very good.
And has anybody heard from Miss Trish about doing something up at Malone? And
Yeah, I saw her at the farm because her son rides. And she got the post from mill number...
Sawmill 7,
Yes.
Sawmill number 7.
Yeah, he donated the post.
Oh, great.
And she's looking into some other stuff. But
so she's working on that. And
I said that rail trail I was talking about earlier had one of those storybook installations along it. About every, 15, 20 feet or something, there'd be another page mounted on a post.
yeah.
Where was this? The
Halston.
Where the award was,
Yeah, I've seen them.
What was their implementation? I mean, did they use...
4x4 pressure treated post,
That
Okay.
were permanent.
concreted in.
Yeah, she talked about that
and then
too.
a panel with a plexiglass cover.
So things can just be
So it's-
switched out.
semi-permanent.
Yeah.
It was semi-permanent. It didn't look like it would be easy to change out this particular model. It looked like it'd be easy
Nothing
to
like
change out.
what you had done for our trail system and whatnot, so...
No, it's printed pages like she was describing. Probably a
Yeah.
ledger size. Like I think they were probably 11 by 17s or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And just a plexiglass cover on top.
Be nice if they were interchangeable then, a new book.
Well, she told us that
That's
they
the
do
point
have
of them,
those.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you keep the same
Yeah,
cover,
that's
but you have
almost
new
all the
material.
ones that I've seen and read
Are
about
that.
are interchangeable. That's
Oh,
the whole point.
great.
'cause
So that,
stories and-
yeah.
well, she had also, they weren't going to be permanently.
Well, that's
Posts
another
and
thing that she
concrete
had
around.
talked about, that maybe in the future, after we get this new trail put in, that she does have a knack for grant finding and writing, that maybe that could be something that could be added to that trail up at Malone,
Yeah.
which I think is a...
And at the
Great
meeting last month, she was talking about putting the posts in a bucket
yeah,
of
in a
concrete.
bucket. So that's how she's going to start it.
Yeah.
'cause yeah.
So it could be moved. if-
Yes, but maybe
And
in
with
the future.
the restrictions on that's fine, right? At Malone,
Yeah.
we can do
Actually,
that.
the inner loop would be about the right
Yeah,
length
Yeah.
for one of those stories.
For
Yeah.
little ones,
Yeah.
especially.
I mean, I don't know that she needs to wait until we have the trail done.
Oh, she's not going to... No, she's going to do what she's
No,
doing.
particularly with that implementation.
But in the
if they're
future,
in buckets, then you can
it's a
just move them out of the
possibility
way
to
of-
do a permanent thing on that trail. I mean, there's a possibility. It's an all-access trail, and hopefully,
Yeah.
in the long run, this is going to be...
Yeah, and in
More
that
than
case, you
just
might
that.
want
It
to
can be-
do something like with the more permanent stuff that the posts aren't going to rot and stuff like that, like what,
But she's not
I
waiting
can
for
do.
that. She's doing still what she talked about last.
yeah. So that's a good first phase.
I had also spoken with, what's his name now? I can't remember. Boy Scout leader.
Yeah,
Started with a
Jesse?
J.
Jesse.
Jesse,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. That's right.
Jesse. about whether any of his scouts would be interested in doing a merit badge relative to identifying trees and
Yeah.
shrubs and stuff
That's what
along
I'd like to see.
the trail. And he thought that was a great idea and is going to talk that up with his scouts. And Tim volunteered to kind of oversee it from
Yeah.
the standpoint of education.
Yeah.
Make
That
sure
kind of
they
thing, so-
identify them correctly. That would be great.
Yeah.
While we're on that topic of the Storytime book trail thing,
Mhm.
East Quorum Land Trust is doing the exact thing right now with these acrylic, kind of plexiglass holders and making up these posts. They got a cabinet maker that's doing it so that it's all nice and sturdy. and
Uniform and.
looks nice and uniform.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of them. So next time I'm over there, I'll take some photos of them
Oh, that would be
and
helpful.
see if, I should have done it when I saw them making them. And I loaded some of the materials. I had an opportunity, but I didn't even think of it at that time. So you can see how somebody else is doing it, and we can
Yeah.
hopefully leverage that experience.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of land trusts and have those on their websites that they
Mhm.
advertise that they're doing those types of trails.
Anything else? You said you had two things at both of them?
That did it.
Okay. Anything else?
Move to adjourn.
We need a
Second.
date, we need to know.
No, when we get the next date?
And I will get a bag to put all this stuff in.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Carry in, carry out.
Leave no trace.
Last Thursday of July would be the 25th. That work for everybody?
Sure.
Okay. All right, next thing is that, then we had a motion to adjourn, and was there a second to that?
Mm-hmm.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.